Okay, we're in action now. Okay, let's do it. Let's chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We can all unmute and do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Okay, let's
Vasudevaya.
do it. Let's chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
We can all unmute and do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Good now? Okay. So today we're going to continue reading from our, uh, reading from Bhagavad Gita. Can now devotees could unmute themselves. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
awesome.
Prabhuji.
Okay, so reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text number 20. Atha
Ata
Ata
vyavasthitan
Vyavasthitan
Vashitan
drishtva
Drishva
Drishva
dhartarashtranan
Dharatarashtanan
Rashtranan
kapidvajah
Kapidvajaha
Vajaha
pravrite
Pravrite
shastra
Shastra
sampate
Sampate
dhanuhu
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 udyamya
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 पांडवः
Pandavaha
ऋषिकेशं
Rishikesham
Rishikesham
तदा
Tada
Tada
वाक्यम्
Vakyam
Vakyam
इदम्
Idam
Idam
आह
Aha
मही
Mahi
Mahi
पते
Pate
Pate
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा
Ata
Ata
Vyavasthitan
Vyavasthitan
Drishva
Drishta
धार्तराष्ट्रान् धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः
Dhartarashtan Kapidvajaha
प्रवृते शास्त्रसम्पाते
Pravrate
Pravrite
Shastra Sampate
धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
Dhanur Udyamya
Dhanurudhyamya
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
Rishikesham
Rishikesham
Tata
Tada
Vakyam
Vakyam
इदम् आह महीपते
Idam
Idam
Aha
Aha
Mahipate
Mahipate
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा
Ata
Ata
Vyavasthitan
Vyavasthitan
Drishva
Drishta
धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः
Dhartarashtan
Kapidvajaha
Kapidvajaha
प्रवृते शास्त्रसम्पाते
Pravrate Shastra
Pravrite
Sampate
Sampate
धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
Dhanur Udyamya
Udhyamya
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
Rishikesham
Tada
Tada
Vakyam.
Vakyam
इदम् आह महीपते
Idam aha
Mahipate
mahipate.
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा
Ata
Ata
Vyavasthitan
Vyavasthitan
Drishva
Drishta
Vyavasthitan
धातराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः
Dhatarashtam
Dhartarashtan
Kapidvajaha
Kapidvajaha
प्रवृते शास्त्रसम्पाते
Pravrate
Pravrite
Shastra
Shastra
Sampate
Sampate
धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः
Dhanur
Udhyamya
Udyamya
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
Rishikesham
Rishikesham
Tata
Tada
Vakyam
Vakyam
इदम् आह महीपते
Idam
Idam
Aha
Aha
Mahipate
Mahipate
Please repeat.
Ata Vyavasthitan Drishtva
Ata
Ata
Vyavasthitan
Vyavasthitan
Drishva
Drishta
Dhatarashtan Kapidvajaha
Dhatarashtam
Dhartarashtan
Kapidvajaha
Kapidvajaha
Pravritte Shastra Sampate
Pravrte
Pravrite
Shastra
Shastra
Sampate
Sampate
Dhanur Udyamya Pandavaha
Dhanur Udyamya
Dhanurudhyamya
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
Rishikesham Tada Vakyam
Rishikesham
Rishikesham
Tata
Tada
Vakyam
Vakyam
Idam aha mahipate.
Idam
Idam
Aha
Aha
Mahipate
Mahipate
Ata Vyavastan Drishva
अतः
Atavyavasthitan
व्यवस्थितान्
Vyavasthitan
दृष्ट्वा
Drishta
Dhartarashtan Kapidvajaha
धातराष्ट्रान्
Dhatarashtam
कपिध्वजः
Kapidvajaha
Pravrte Shastra Sampate
Pravritte
प्रवृत्ति
Shastra
Shastra
Sampate
Sampate
Dhanur Udyamya Pandavaha
धनुरुद्यम्य
Dhanurudhyamya
Dhanurudhyamya
पाण्डवः
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
ऋषिकेशं तथा वाक्यम्
ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम्
इदम् आह महीपते
इदम्
Mahipate.
आमहीपते. Okay, so atha
अतः
thereupon
thereupon
vyavasthitan
व्यवस्थितान्
situated
Situated.
situated
drishtva
दृष्ट्वा
looking upon
looking
Looking
upon
Dhartarashtra'n the
Dhartarashtraन्
sons of Dhritarashtra
the
the
sons
sons
of
of
Dhritarashtra
Dhritarashtra.
Kapidvajaha
Kapidvajaha
he whose flag was marked with Hanuman
He
he
whose
whose flag
flag
was
was
marked with
marked with
Hanuman
Hanuman.
Pravrite
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 while about to engage
while
while
about to
about to
engage
engage.
Shastra Sampate
Shastra
Shastra
Sampate
Sampate
in releasing his arrows
in
in
releasing his
releasing
arrows.
his arrows.
Danuhu
Tanuhu
Dhanuhu
bow
bow
Udyamya
Udyamya
taking up
picking up
taking up.
Pandavaha
Pandavaha
the
Pandavaha,
son of Pandu
the
the
son
son
of
of
Pandu.
Pandu
Arjuna
Arjuna.
Rishikesham
Rishikesham
unto Lord Krishna
Lord
Unto
Krishna
Lord
Tada
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 at that time
at that
at that
time.
time
Vakyam
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 words
words
word.
Idam
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 these
these.
Aha
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 said
said.
said
Mahipate
Mahipati.
Mahipate
O king.
O
O
king.
king.
You could please mute yourselves. So at that time, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Purport. The battle was just about to begin. It is understood from the above statement that the sons of Dhritarashtra were more or less disheartened by the unexpected arrangement of the military forces by the Pandavas, who were guided by the direct instructions of Lord Krishna on the battlefield. The emblem of Hanuman on the flag is another sign of victory because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Rama in the battle between Rama and Ravana, and Lord Rama emerged victorious. Now, both Rama and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Rama himself, and wherever Lord Rama is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna had no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever. And above all, the Lord of the senses, Lord Krishna, was personally present to give him direction. Thus, all good counsel was available to Arjuna in the matter of executing the battle. In such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतात्पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागजातं सहागण रघुनाथन्वतं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वतांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामिनिति नामिने हरिजन गण बारी ज्ञान कर्मांधहारी प्रकटित पर भक्तिर भक्ति सिद्धांत कांति विनय निकर लक्ष्मी निम्न मेदय गम्यो भुवि जयति विकासो भक्ति पूर्वो यतीन्द्र नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वागीशा यस्य वदने लक्ष्मीर्यस्य च वक्षसि यस्यास्य हृदये संवित्तं नृसिंहम् अहं भजे यस्य देवे परा भक्तिर्यथा देवी तदा गुरौ तस्य ते कथिता ह्यर्था प्रकाशन्ते महात्मनः. So reading this verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the good signs of victory, all the good signs of victory are already present for Arjuna, because we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is personally guiding him. That's one really important thing. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is personally guiding him. And not just that, that just from hearing the sounds of the conch shells that the Pandavas had made and Krishna himself had made, they had already lost all enthusiasm to fight, more or less. And not just that, Hanuman himself was personally present on the battlefield on Arjuna's flag. And Prabhupada makes this amazing point. He says that not just was Hanuman present, Rama was also present. And wherever there's Lord Rama, there's Hanuman and Sita, the goddess of fortune. And not only that, it's not just that he just had Hanuman flag, and there's yes wherever there's Hanuman is only where Lord Rama is, like that. But Krishna himself was personally present upon the battlefield. He was personally present upon the battlefield to guide the entire war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. And the Pandavas had arranged their military array in such a way according to the instructions of Lord Krishna. So we see over here Prabhupada is saying, in such auspicious conditions arranged by the Lord for his eternal devotee, lay the signs of assured victory. So victory is assured. Victory is assured because Krishna has made all these arrangements. Krishna has made all these arrangements. That's why we see later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhavasavya. He tells him, my dear Arjuna, all these people are already killed. Look, whether you want it or not, it is my desire that all of them are going to get killed. And because it is my desire, it is going to happen. That's why Krishna is known as Apta Kama. Whatever Krishna wants, he gets it. Right? This is a common glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And let's see where exactly in which verse does Prabhupada or the Srimad Bhagavatam speak about this. So we can see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, chapter Canto 2, chapter 7, text number 7. I'm going to share my screen again. So over here, Srila Prabhupada says, okay, so over here, Srila Prabhupada, this verse is this. Kamam dahanti kritino nanu rosha dishtya rosham dahantam utate dahantya asahyam soyam yad antaram alam pravishan bhiveti kamah katam na punar asya manaf shayeta. Great stalwarts like Lord Shiva can, by their wrathful glances, overcome lust and vanquish them. Yet they cannot be free from the overwhelming effects of their own wrath. Such wrath can never enter into the heart of him, the Lord, who is above all this. So how can lust take shelter in his mind? Then over here, Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, he says, okay, the Lord is known as Aptakama. Okay, that's very important. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Aptakama. The Lord is known as Aptakama, or one who can fulfill his desires by himself. He does not require anyone to help satisfy his desires. The Lord is unlimited, therefore his desires are also unlimited. All living entities but the Lord are limited in every respect. How then can the limited satisfy the desires of the unlimited? The conclusion is that the absolute true personality of Godhead does not has neither lust nor anger, and even if there's sometimes a show of lust and anger, by the absolute is considered an absolute benediction. So the point we're aiming at here, the thing we're focusing on over here, is this: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Aptakama, one who can fulfill his desires by himself. He does not need anyone's help to come and fulfill his desires. Oh, can you please help me fulfill my desires? Can you do this? Can you do that? No, Krishna doesn't need anything. Krishna doesn't need anything. And one of the things which makes the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, is that he has this Ichha Shakti. Right? Ichha Shakti. We read about this in the Brahma Samhita, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified as Shrishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chaye Vayasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichanurupam apiyasya chateshtatesha Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Over here, we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is glorified like this. He's glorified that the external potency Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in accordance with whose will Durga conducts herself. So this is very important. So you see, Ichana Rupam. I'm going to highlight that just for your pleasure. Yeah. Ichana Rupam api yasya cheshtate sa. Right? So we say that the Supreme Personality, she acts according to the will, Icha Anurupam. In a Icha is the will, Anurupam is in accordance with Api, certainly, Yasya of whom. So even Maya Devi, who is controlling the entire material world, she functions according to the desire of Krishna. Icha anurupam api yasya chesatesha. So we see that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has a certain desire. And he can do everything on his own. But why doesn't he do everything on his own? Why doesn't he do everything on his own? He could do it, right? He could do it. Like, what's the problem for Krishna to do it? Krishna can totally do it. He can totally perform all these activities by himself. He can perform these activities. He can kill all the Kauravas, no problem. And when he shows the universal form to Arjuna, he tells him, "Look, Arjuna, these people are already destroyed. all these all these Kauravas are already destroyed by my arrangement." Arjuna sees Bhishma, Drona, Karna, the entire and Duryodhana, all the Dhritarashtra sons, the entire Kaurava army, the entire Pandava army. He sees them all entering into the mouth of the universal form and being destroyed. And Krishna says, with the exception of you five Pandavas and few others, everyone on this battlefield is going to get destroyed. All 6.4 million people are going to get destroyed with the exception of maybe a handful of them. So Krishna has already made this arrangement. It's not like he has to make a new arrangement or like, oh, he's really dependent upon Arjuna for going and killing all these people on the battlefield. No. Recently we were having a class, Rishi Kumar Prabhu was giving this class, and we were studying the Vedic cosmology. And in the Vedic cosmology, we were simply trying to measure how big is a Brahmanda, right? And the Brahmanda, the size of the Brahmanda, it came to be 37, not quadrillion. What's the digit after quadrillion? So like five, so there's quadrillion, then there's trillion, there's billion, there's million, right? What's the figure after that? Anyway, whatever. It came up to be something more than 37 quadrillion 250 billion, what do you say, a quintillion, yeah, something like that. So it came close to 37 quintillion yojanas, close to that. And I might be getting my number a little wrong. 37 quintillion, something close to 37 quintillion yojanas. Or let's play it small. 37 quadrillion yojanas. Mhm. That's just the diameter of the Brahmanda. Now you do 37 times 8. How much is that? 8 7 is 54, 8 3 is 20. So 294 quadrillion yojanas, 294 quadrillion miles.
Six.
Okay. 200, yeah, 6. Great. Thank you. It is it's so huge. The Brahmanda is so huge. And this Brahmanda is the pore on Lord Krishna's body, right? On Mahavishnu's body. But Yashyakaneshwashatakala Matavalambhya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandhanatha Vishnur Mahan Sahi Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Right? We see this verse, we see this is quoted in the Brahma Samhita that where is it? Is it 47? I'm bad with numbers. But we say that these verses, okay, yeah, okay, I found it. Okay. So, anyways, verse number 48. Okay, now look at this, right? I'm going to share my screen again. So, we see it over here. Okay, boom. Look at this. This is a verse I just quoted. Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of the head of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of one exhalation of later Mahavishnu. I wrote the primeval Lord Govinda, whose subjective personality, Mahavishnu, is the portion of portion. So we see that this 37 quadrillion yojanas worth of Brahmanda is nothing but a small, is coming out of the pore. You know, if you look at your hand, can you really see your pore? Can you see the pore on your hand? You can't really see it, can you? You can't really see the pore on your hand. But that's the size of a Brahmanda. And this Brahmanda is coming out of the pore of Mahavishnu. And this Mahavishnu is a portion of the portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. So now, however big we may think we are, right? You know, it's very easy for us to think, oh, we are so big and we're so great and we're so amazing. But if you were just to conceive of the size of this Brahmanda, doesn't that completely blow your mind? Right? Doesn't that completely blow your mind? It's completely insane. It's completely insane. We can't even understand how big. You can't even conceive of it. Now, for example, you could conceive of 10 apples. You could conceive of 100 apples. You might be able to conceive of 1,000 apples. But can you conceive how actually 10,000 apples looks? Can you conceive how 100,000 apples looks? Can you conceive how a million apples looks? We cannot even conceive how a million apples look. Now, can you conceive a billion apples, trillion apples, quadrillion apples? Can you conceive? You can't even conceive quadrillion apples. What to speak of quadrillion yojanas? We can't understand. We can't. Now we're thinking, oh, we're getting 600 acres property for Krishna. That's amazing. And it is amazing. It is big. It is no doubt. I'm not saying, oh, such a small thing. It's not small. It's huge, right? But and you know when you go and you actually stand on the hill and you look at the properties, of course it's like breathtakingly beautiful, but it's so huge. 600 acres is a lot of land, right? You look at it, wow, and then you can see land beyond that, and you can see land beyond that. That all that even beyond the property line, maybe it's like another 20,000 acres of just greenery that you can see from the property. That's 26,000 acres. That's a lot. But what is that compared to 37 quadrillion yojanas? It's inconceivable. And that is nothing but a small, it's like you can't even conceive of how small a pore is on your body. The only reason you may feel the presence of the pore on your body is when you sweat. Otherwise, or unless someone is talking about it. Otherwise, if people are not even talking, if someone is not talking about it and you're not sweating, you don't even realize that you have pores on your body. And these pores on your body are all over your body, aren't they? They're all over your body. They're everywhere. It's not like it's just like, oh, just my finger, bro. No, it's on every part of your body, there's a pore. So now there's an unlimited amount of universes coming out of the unlimitedly huge body of Mahavishnu, who happens to be a portion of the portion of Krishna. And that Krishna personally is driving the chariot of Arjuna. So how can there be loss? Like how can there be loss? How is it possible that there can be anything else but victory on the Pandava side? It is impossible. But demons are so foolish that they do not realize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They refuse to accept it. They refuse to accept it. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that if there was only the description of the Supreme Lord being big, you might be able to conceive of it, right? So now we're talking about a person who's so big that 37 quadrillion yojana Brahmanda is simply coming out of a pore of his body. That's huge. And so we can understand he's inconceivably big. And then you can understand of someone who is inconceivably who's small. Man, you could can. That's why the Brahma Samhita says, "Ekopyaso rachyutam jagadanda kotim yachak sirasi jagadanda jayayadantaha andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami." Right? Where is this verse? Okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. So look at this verse. This is very amazing. Okay. Boom. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between the potency and possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. Now, this is completely insane. Look at this. Bhakti said, now this purport is going to kill you. Krishna is the highest of all entities. In him is an entity, whoops, which is termed chit, spiritual, which is distinct from the principle of limitation. By his inconceivable power, he can create numberless universes. All mundane universes owe their origin to the transformation of his external energy. Again, his abode is beyond conception. Since all worlds, limited and spiritual, shit exists in him, and he resides simultaneously in his fullness and entirely in all the atoms in all the worlds, all pervasiveness is only a localized aspect of the majesty of Krishna, the Lord of all. Thus, he is all pervasive, yet in his existence everywhere in a medium shape consists his spiritual lordship beyond human conception. Now, do you understand this? What Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is telling us over here that yes, not only is Krishna huge, but he's also present simultaneously in every atom of every universe. He's present in every atom of the universe in his fullness. So now you can conceive of someone very big, and you can and then make that, but then he's also simultaneously extremely big, and he's also simultaneously extremely small. But that's not just the point which is going to blow your mind. The point which actually blows your mind is that though he's all pervasive, yet in his existence everywhere in a medium shape consists his spiritual lordship beyond human conception. Krishna is simultaneously unlimitedly big and he's unlimitedly small, and he also has this beautiful transcendental form of of Govinda. Now, this is amazing. It's inconceivable. How amazing is Krishna? How much potency does Krishna have? We cannot even conceive of this. We cannot conceive of the potency of Krishna. So, we understand from these points. What do we understand? We understand that if Krishna wants something to happen, it is going to happen. And all you need to do is you need to try your hardest to satisfy the desires of Krishna. That's it. Nothing else. And if you can think about it, that if Krishna could empower Arjuna and the Pandavas to defeat the Kauravas, right? You know, from our perspective, dude, this seems like a big deal. It seems like a big deal. Wow. Wow, Arjuna and the Pandavas, they defeated all the Kauravas. That's amazing. Yes, it's amazing. But is it so amazing if Krishna is on your side? Or rather, if you're on Krishna's side, is it so amazing? No, it's not. It's not amazing. In one sense, it's simultaneously amazing and simultaneously not amazing. So with Krishna personally present to like ride to guide the horses of Arjuna and give direct instructions to Arjuna, then what does it matter? That is why a pure devotee always chooses Krishna over any material benediction. Any material benediction that there may be, you name it, whatever material benediction that you want, any material benediction there may be, the pure devotee always chooses Krishna over these benedictions. Why? Why does he choose Krishna over these benedictions? Because he understands Krishna is more valuable than anything. That's why the possessor is more valuable than the possession. It's very important that you can say you can take away someone's money, but they can make that money back. Especially if they made the money, they didn't just inherit it. If they made that money, then they can always make the money back, right? Because they have that ability that Krishna has blessed them with. So we say yes, Arjuna and Duryodhana both arrive in Dwarka, and they both arrive at the same time, and Krishna is taking rest. So they both go in. Arjuna immediately grabs Krishna's lotus feet and he starts to massage Krishna's lotus feet. Duryodhana thinks, "Oh, I'm a king. Why should I like massage his feet? I'll massage his like arm or like neck or something like this. I'll massage that. So Krishna was saving, and when he woke up, who he saw first? He saw Arjuna. And then he saw Arjuna and he said, okay, I know both of you have come to ask me for my favor, but because I saw Arjuna first, I'd like to know what he would decide. I will not fight in the battle because both of you, I'm related to both the families. I'm not going to fight. It's a fratricidal war, and like to for me to pick a weapon and fight against my family people, I'm not so inclined to doing that. But I'll give you a choice. Either you can have me, and I'll just like I'll be your advisor. I'll maybe drive a chariot, but I won't fight. Or you could have my entire Narayana army, and who's going to be the commander in chief of the Narayan army is Kritavarma. So you can have Kritavarma and my entire Narayan army, or you can have me. And Arjuna, without even thinking, he immediately says, I want Krishna. I want Krishna. And Duryodhana is thinking, what a fool. What an idiot. What a complete idiot Arjuna is. He chose one guy over like the invincible army, the Narayan army. He chose one guy over this. What an idiot. Anyway, then he makes some drama. Oh, anyway, I guess I didn't have a choice. Okay, all right. So I guess I'll just take the army. But he was blissed out. He thought, now I'm definitely going to win this. Arjuna is such an idiot. But no, Arjuna made the smartest decision that anyone in the world could make. Because Krishna is a proprietor, the possessor of everything. What's the big deal for Krishna? And more than that, Arjuna didn't calculate, like, actually, wait, Krishna is more. No, he just loves Krishna. He loves Krishna. Naturally, his mind is attracted to Krishna. He couldn't bear the thought of fighting against Krishna. He couldn't. So he didn't. He chose Krishna. All right. If Krishna is there, I'm happy. And all the Pandavas are completely surrendered to Krishna. And because all the Pandavas were completely surrendered to Krishna, Krishna gave them unlimited benedictions. Unlimited benedictions. Why Krishna? Why only Krishna? There's this verse. Alam 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 eka praninam patakanam nirishana vishaya ya Krishna krishneti vane yadi bhavati mukunde bhaktir ananda sandra karatala kalita sa moksha samrajya lakshmi. Okay, so let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, now what's the verse number? It has to be like 54 or something. 51. Okay. Now look at this. Okay, it's such a beautiful verse. By themselves, the words. Okay, this. By themselves. Is this legible? Should I increase the size of the screen?
We can read, Prabhuji.
Okay. Just for being a little nice, I guess I'll do it. I'm not nice usually, but I could try to be nice now. Okay. So by themselves, the words Krishna Krishna are sufficient to drive away the sins of all living beings. Anyone who possesses devotion for Lord Mukunda that is densely imbued with the ecstasy holds in his palms of his hands the gifts of liberation, worldly influence, and wealth. You see, just the words Krishna Krishna. If you simply have devotion to Krishna, what's the big deal? What's your problem? What's your problem? Oh, I have this problem, I have that problem. But what's your problem? Just perform intense devotional service to Krishna. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradihi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Okay? You just perform devotional service to Krishna. Perform devotional service to Krishna intensely. If you have material desires, you don't have material desires, you want liberation, whatever you want, worship Krishna. Because if you hold that devotion to Krishna, it's highly imbued, densely imbued with love in your hands. What else do you need in life? You have everything, right? Now we can say, I spent a couple of hours reading the most important book in the Krishna conscious movement after Prabhupada's books, which is The Mood and Mission of Shiva Prabhupada. If you haven't read it, please read it. If you haven't bought it, please contact me. I was reading this, and I was reading the section known as Secrets of a Success. Okay. And in this, okay, Prabhupada said this: whatever little success I have got is only for this reason. I have never said anything which is not spoken by Krishna. I never said in my opinion. And again, he says, whatever little success is there for me is because I did not manufacture any idea. I don't make any compromise. You may come to me or not. I don't care for it. But I cannot make any compromise with these bogus things. My movement is for Krishna. My movement is for Krishna. Right? My movement is for Krishna. So what Krishna says, that's all right. If you like, then come or go away. I don't mind. I am solid. I have taken Krishna. Like Prabhupada, like Arjuna takes Krishna, Prabhupada's taken Krishna. I have taken Krishna. That is a solid program. And whatever little success has come, it is due to this faith. That's all. Easy. Prabhupada is saying it. Right? What's the problem? Right? Now look at this. Prabhupada says this. If a little more success is there for me than other swamis and yogis, it is due to my conviction on this point. And what's the point? I never compromise with anything which is not spoken by Krishna. You don't compromise Krishna's words. You understand Krishna's desire. Then no problem. What's the problem? Then you'll be happy. You'll be happy. You'll be able to get the mercy of Krishna. And how do you understand Krishna? Prabhupada says, reading the Bhagavad Gita means understanding Krishna. The real purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to know Krishna. Right? So many amazing things. Right? Prabhupada goes on to say, the Bhagavad Gita teaches one how to absorb the mind and intelligence in the thought of the Lord. By such absorption will enable one to transfer himself to the kingdom of God. If the mind is engaged in Krishna's service, then the senses are automatically engaged in his service. This is the art, and this is also the secret of Bhagavad Gita. What's the secret of Bhagavad Gita? Total absorption in thought of Sri Krishna. So this is very, very amazing. And this go on and on and on and on. Prabhupada, you know, our mission is to present Bhagavad Gita as it is without any nonsensical commentary. Our Krishna consciousness movement means to preach the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as it is, not to interpret it in any nonsensical way and mislead the people. We don't try to mislead people. We give without any changes and without any cost, without any loss on your part. My only credit, one more nectar. Anyway, we could just probably just the whole class just read this book and that'll be better than any foolish thing I may say. But my only credit is that I have presented Bhagavad Gita as it is without any speculation or interpretation. Therefore, for the first time in the history of the world, people are accepting it and practically according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita. So we can see Prabhupada is again and again and again and again. This, I mean, just imagine Prabhupada. My movement is for Krishna. So what Krishna says, that is all right. If you like, you can then come or go away. I don't mind. I am solid. I have taken Krishna. Just like Arjuna has taken Krishna, Srila Prabhupada has taken Krishna. That is a solid program. And whatever little success has become possible is due to this faith. So we can see that the Pandavas, they took full shelter of Krishna. They weren't fooling around, they weren't goofing around, they didn't take partial shelter of Krishna. They didn't take any of this. They take full shelter of Krishna. And it's important. We should take full shelter of Krishna. If we're not taking full shelter of Krishna, what are we doing with our life? Right? We should take full shelter of Krishna. And what does it mean? What does it mean? For the brahmacharis, I have to give their entire life to Krishna, life, breath, words, everything. For grihasthas, primarily it means to donate 50% of their income, all their income, towards the propagation of the Krishna consciousness movement. For the vanaprastha, what does it mean? That at a certain age they leave Krishna. So not leave Krishna. They go to Krishna. They leave their family. They go to the forest or they go to Vrindavan or whatever place. And Prabhupada says this that so many people they come to the they come to the to Vrindavan. They leave their entire family behind, but they leave their entire family behind, but they also leave their entire money behind. Why? Why did they have to leave their entire money behind? Prabhupada says, no, you should come and you should also take a part of your money and you should sacrifice that money for spreading of Krishna consciousness. And what does the sannyasi do? He gives everything up and he simply takes upon for the preaching of Krishna consciousness. So everyone has to take shelter of Krishna, right? It's not that, oh, little for me, maybe like 1% for Krishna, 2% for Krishna. No, 50%. Surrender. Why not? What's the problem? What's the difficulty? Will Krishna not take care of you? We'll all say yes. But where's our faith? We should put our money where our mouth is, right? So we see this. There's so many people that refuse to do this. And because they refuse to do this, there's a lack of surrender. And because there's a lack of surrender, then people don't have, people start feeling all uncomfortable. Oh, why are they talking about finances? We're talking about Krishna. No, don't have the Ravana mentality. Don't have Ravana also, he hides his most valuable jewel in the Ashokavana. He hides Sita in the Ashokavana, surrounds her by all these Rakshasis, right? Ravana surrounds her by all these Rakshasis. and keeps his most valuable. And he gets very upset if someone says, "Hey, wait, that's Rama's wife. Give her back to him." He gets upset at Vibhishana. He gets upset at Malyavan. He gets upset as Mandodari. He gets upset at Hanuman. How dare you ask me to give up Sita? So same thing. It's like in India, actually, everyone knows. You can just go up to someone, frankly, ask him, so how much do you make? What's the problem? How much do you make? Now, you can just ask someone and they'll just tell you. But in American culture, it's very taboo. How dare you ask that question? Why? Because it's Ravana mentality. It's Ravana mentality. And there's a simple point, and I have to say this because I'm wearing this cloth and I'm giving my entire life to Krishna, and I don't use a single farthing for my sense gratification. That this is the Dharma of Grihasthas, and it's something that has to get done for the propagation of the Krishna conscious movement. That is where your surrender is. Otherwise, talk is cheap. So many people say, "Oh, it's Jai. What you guys are doing is so amazing, amazing." But very few come forward and actually put their money where their mouth is. And those who do, and you know who you are, and you know how much we appreciate your sacrifice. And more than us, you know how much Yajna Purush Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciates your sacrifice. You know who you are. And how much Lord Chaitanya is pleased to see that these people are actually following the principles enunciated by Rupa Goswami. But most others, no, they just want, and it's such an uncomfortable thing, and it's such a big thing because we can make all plans for our sense gratification. We can say we have faith in Krishna, but we don't have faith in Krishna. We have faith in our money. So it's something that we should think about. And nasty brahmacharis like me have to speak about this, right? I'm very nasty for saying these things, but it's a fact, right? So we see that's why Krishna says all these things in the Bhagavad Gita. Sahayagya prajashishva purovacha prajapatihi anena prashayishyadvam eshavo shvishva kamaduk. And Krishna says so many points. He says, Yad karoji, what does he say? He says, Sanyasa yo yuktatma mamukto mam apayashisi. He says, यद करोषि यदश्नासि यज्जुहोसि ददासि यद यद तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत् कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्. Yes, shubha ashubha phalairevam mokshase karma bandhanaihi sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mam upayasisi. Krishna makes all these points, right? A person must learn to be detached from the fruits of their hard labor, but no, that's impossible. We can chant around, we can do this, but genuine renunciation, that's very hard to come across actually. Genuine renunciation, it's very hard to come across. And it's something that we should build our lives up to. It's important. you know it's very important, actually. It's very important for us to build our lives up to this. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this important words. Actually, there's a verse glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 6, text number 254. Says Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shikshamrita Eka Purusha Purana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Shariradari Kripamudarya Samaham Prapadya. Right? This is the verse I was just quoting. So we see this over here. Let me take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who has descended in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to teach us real knowledge, his devotional service and detachment from whatever does not foster Krishna consciousness. He has descended because he is an ocean of transcendental mercy. Let me surrender unto his lotus feet. So there is it. We have to surrender to Lord Chaitanya. And how will Lord Chaitanya be pleased with us if we are too attached? We should not be so attached. Actually, we should not be so attached. We should learn. Well, that's the only difference, right, between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, is that the Duryodhana was too attached and the Pandavas were not. They were willing to live in the forest if it pleased Krishna. They're willing to live in the forest. They're willing to undergo all these tribulations. I mean, they could, right? Bhima many times say, "Hey, look, you just sit here. I'll just go to Hastinapur right now. I'll kill all the hundred Kauravas, and then we'll be fine. We can just go back and we can just live happily." But no, Yudhishthira says not according to Dharma. Let's not do it. Why? Why doesn't he want to do anything adharmic? Because it's not pleasing to Krishna. It's not pleasing to Krishna. So we must learn to understand what our dharma is. We must learn to understand these points. It's not rocket science, actually. It's not rocket science. If we do it, if we apply it, and then when we actually renounce the fruits of the activities for the pleasure of the spiritual master, we feel certain bliss. And there's especially a few people on this, that may be listening to this class right now. They have given everything for the pleasure of their spiritual master. Everything. Even more, even some of them may have children, some of them may be expecting children, but even more than for the pleasure of their son, they care about the pleasure of their spiritual master. That is so inspiring. And when we see that, it like produces a certain amount of inspiration. So much inspiration is there. Even more than their son, they love that spiritual master. Even more than their husband, they love service of the spiritual master. They sacrifice everything for the sake of the spiritual master. It's very amazing, very amazing. So we must learn how we can sacrifice everything for the pleasure of the spiritual master. That's why there's this thing. And when we do that, we will experience Krishna's amazing mercy. So now there's this section in the Mood and Mission of Srila Prabhupada. Let me bookmark where I left. It's known as Divine Serendipity. Okay, it is page 566. Is I hope. Okay, now listen to this, okay? It's very nectarian. Social historians have noted that the arrival of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness to New York City in 1965, just when the youth of America were experiencing a spiritual crisis, the hip search for meaning beyond matter, couldn't have been better timed. In other words, even from mundane historical point of view, Srila Prabhupada's coming to America in 1965 seemed truly providential. It was Krishna's arrangement for inaugurating the Hare Krishna movement in the Western world. The Hare Krishna movement needed exactly the circumstances which Swami Bhaktivedanta found in New York of the early 70s to develop. Considering that not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it must be taken as an orchestration of divine serendipity that Srila Prabhupada repeatedly arrived in the right place at the right time. Prabhupada came at a perfect time in history and went to the right place, the Lower East Side of New York. And then again in Haight Ashbury, just when the hippie movement was big, they were looking for spiritual life. Several writers have noted how the timing of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in America was to prove opportune. Samapriya Devi Dasi, an inquisitive search for the truth swept like a deluge over the youth of America in the 1960s. Accepting this lifestyle we've inherited from our parents, to live in a mundane society with mundane goals was not an option for the youth of the 1960s. Maya was also at work, and the innocent quest of the generation found refuge in her allurements, drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And thus, Ramakrishna Goswami noted, Srila Prabhupada arrived in the midst of a storm of great discontent in which millions of young people were questioning and often demanding the removal of established traditions. But it was a negative rebellion, lacking meaningful direction. There was justification for the dissatisfaction, but without positive alternatives, the result was simply widespread frustration and disappointment. Then Srila Prabhupada had come. He came not with the false promise of hope or with a self concocted mysticism. He had brought a genuine, timeless solution in delivering the message of his spiritual forefathers. Srila Prabhupada, unlike America's leaders, was not confused by the menacing face of youthful rebellion. Instead of wasting time with planning commissions, drug rehabilitation schemes, alternative education, military draft, and prisons, he was applying the age old counteractive, Krishna consciousness. And invariably, if someone took the medicine, it worked. So we see that Srila Prabhupada gave everything for the pleasure of Krishna. And because he did that, Krishna timed everything Srila Prabhupada did perfectly well. So if we simply follow our dharma, and it's not such a big thing, everyone was doing it, all your ancestors were doing it. It's not such a big thing. We simply have to understand our position and make a sacrifice for Krishna. And by making the sacrifice of Krishna, Krishna, just like he made all auspicious arrangements for the Pandavas, he will make all auspicious arrangements for you. But the question is, where is your faith? And that question is very easy for you to answer and find out. So in the class over here, if there's any questions or comments, we could take them now. You please unmute your microphones or raise your hands or however this thing works. Yes, Uma Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So, how can we see the divine in every atom? I mean, in a regular life, how can we experience that divinity? Like when Prahlada wanted to, he prayed to Narayana that he wanted to see him everywhere, and
Mhm.
he was given that boon. But for people like me who are struggling with getting into this uh, phase. So, how can I see divinity in every atom?
So, firstly, you need to please Krishna. You need to surrender to Krishna. That's very important. And we need to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We need to do japa. You should really chant your rounds very prayerfully. You should chant your rounds. And then it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden now I see Krishna. No, it happens by receiving the blessings of the devotees and by engaging in practical service. Do you really want to know how to see Krishna? I'll show you a purport. This is my favorite purport in all of Prabhupada's purports. This is an ecstatic, amazing purport. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28, text number 51. Okay, so look at this. I'm going to share my screen. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see this, right? Okay, so, okay, look at this. When one becomes serious to follow the mission of the spiritual master, his resolution is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As I explained before, this means meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the instruction of the spiritual master. This is technically called Vani Seva. Look at this. Simply by following on that line, one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Look at this. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that unless one is very highly elevated in loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot see him as he is. Nonetheless, if one sticks to the principles enunciated by the spiritual master, somehow or the other, he's in the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Seeing, since the Lord is in the heart, he can advise the disciple from within. Right? Then look at this. In conclusion, if one is very serious to execute the mission of the spiritual master, he immediately associates with the personality of Godhead by Vani or Vapu. That is the only secret of success in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's your answer. Srila Prabhupada answered it much better than I ever could. That's your answer. You have to be serious in executing the order of the spiritual master. You have to prove to the spiritual master that you really mean it. And the resolution to follow his order is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anything else? Yes, Narayan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Then
Hare
Pranam Jai Shri Prabhu. Prabhuji, just a general question for Bhagavad Gita. Like when we are learning, right? So can we make notes like on a notepad and stick like the sticky notes we call and put it on the Bhagavad Gita when if there's something that we want to remember?
Sure.
We can do that, right? Or and can we highlight some verses in the Bhagavad Gita as well? No?
Better not to.
Not to? Okay.
Yeah. It's a personal preference. I wouldn't do it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so but we can use the sticky notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else pertaining to the class?
No, Guruji, I'm good with that.
Okay. Anything else from anyone else? Okay. Is there nothing else? So if there's nothing, we could end the class here. Okay. All right. So thank you all. Oh, Kaunanimati, are you trying to say something? No. Okay. Okay. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm coming. So thank you very much for your kind attention. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Vasindubhya Vichya Paditanam
Kripanam
Pavane
pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo
namo. Hare